Lori Lightfoot, for example, she's the mayor in Chicago and has done a horrible job. Has come under fire recently because she apparently thinks that the crime rate in Chicago is falling.
Is that we're actually seeing a decline in homicides and shootings. Yes, sir. You.
Sir, we are
No,
done.
sir.
Right
Okay.
Here's my question. Here's my follow-up
We're
question.
done. No. Let him ask his follow-up question so he doesn't claim that somehow we're being biased and slighting the guy from Newsmax. Please, sir, it's 6:30 going on 7. Ask your follow-up question.
Well, my follow-up question is simply this. Many residents in Chicago feel that you've lost control of the city. Now it appears as though you've lost control of the Chicago City Council. Do you owe an apology to the victims of violent crime, the thousands of unsolved shootings and murders and stabbings and random stabbings in the downtown and the south side and the north side and the west side? Do you owe these people any apology?
So once again, sir, I ask you to get your facts right. Crime is not out of control in our city. In fact, crime is on the decline. All of our major indices showed a decline in crime, and our homicides and our shootings year over year are down. That's a fact, sir. And you, sir, I was polite and allowed you to spew your rhetoric, which is offensive to me and others, but I'm trying to be polite and professional and answer your question. But if you want to write your own narrative and irrelevant to what I'm going to say and what the facts are, then we'll just move on to the next reporter, Heather Sharon.
Yeah, okay, sure. We're just going to ignore all of those stories that happen every single weekend of 50 to 100 people getting shot in Chicago consistently all the time. We're just going to ignore that because Lori Lightfoot apparently cares about facts. Well, I actually have some facts here today, and they don't line up with what she's saying at all, okay? Plus, they're still really bad, okay? So let's go ahead and get into a little bit of this. Second of all, we're just just after this video here, she starts talking about the fact that it's some issue with racism and sexism. That's the reason why the spike is happening in gun violence. I mean, they really love to just use those words, don't they? But the fact is, once again, is that this whole situation is a blatant lie from what she's actually talking about. So the facts here are, first of all, shootings have surged 12% compared to the same time last year, and a whopping 59% compared to this time in 2019. So not only, first of all, comparing this year's stats to last year's stats isn't even the big deal. 2020 was the uprising of all of the BLM stuff, the riots that took place in Chicago and many other big liberal cities over the last summer. That's what we need to be looking at is last year, those riots, because that's really where you're going to see the spike in crime. But even to this point right now, crime is higher than it was even then. During all of that, it really makes you look horribly bad when you're just misrepresenting these numbers. Now, this is also including murders, because those are just shootings. These are murders too that have also increased. Chicago had 326 murders so far in 2021, compared to 323 during the same period in 2020, and 241 in 2019, a 35% rise. The homicide rate among blacks is 9 times higher than the homicide rate among non-blacks reported, and these are direct from the public health, the Department of Public Health, as of June 15th, okay? So what we're looking at here is a situation where everything is up significantly. She's just lying. That's not the case at all. And even if it was lower now by one shooting or one death, the context in the numbers do matter. And if you compare this to 2019, it's still significantly worse. These are the highest, I believe, they were saying the highest shootings, and just these numbers are the highest they've ever been in so many years. It will blow your mind. And yet, Lori Lightfoot wants to pretend as if it's not happening. That's the reason why it's happening. You're talking about a mayor and the Democrats in general, all of the people that have any influence at all in Detroit, in Chicago, all of those people are Democrats, hardcore left-wing Democrats. All of them stand with defunding the police. All of them were the same ones that were telling people that they need to vote a certain way, that they need to, they hope that the right decision is made during the George Floyd trial, is what a lot of them were mentioning as well. These people have contributed to this. They've single-handedly told their community, don't respect the police, don't do this, don't. And now that the criminals have figured that message out, which it doesn't take a rocket scientist to do since they're telling it to your face on national television. Since these criminals have figured this out, they're saying, well, we're going to do whatever we want to do now. Because the police aren't going to do much of anything, they can't do much of anything, and we can run free without having to bother with law enforcement. Because we have a mayor that doesn't respect law enforcement either, that's trying to actively defund the police as well. That's why you're seeing this. Chicago's not the only place. There's many other liberal cities that I've gone over before that have a significantly higher crime rate this year compared to any time in their history, or at least in the recent history of the past about 10, 20 years in many cases. This is unacceptable. And a part of this is holding the people accountable. You need to actually do something. Like Ron DeSantis that actually does something. That actually says, you know what, there aren't going to be any riots that we're tolerating here. You do it here, you're going to jail. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have to display some kind of authority, and she refuses to do so. You just watched a clip from The William Hall Show. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe.